Y'all, this is going to be a deep conversation about a viral TikTok experiment called a social experiment where a woman is calling local churches to find out whether or not these churches will give to a hungry baby. This viewer discretion is advised as simply because we're going to be talking about the church. And I know some people be having issues with talking about things like this. This is not meant to cause chaos and confusion. It is just a conversation that we're going to have about what is the responsibility of the church when it comes to feeding the poor and meeting the need of a community. Let's get into it, shall we? Oh, yes, we shall. A sweet old auntie. Thank you, subscribers, and my nieces and nephews, and all of y'all who have been here through the long haul. Shall we get into it? Oh, yes, we shall. It's time for auntie to rise. Sweet old auntie. It's time for auntie to rise. Oh, yeah. It's time for auntie to rise. Well, welcome everybody, and this is Auntie. And if this is your first time being here, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And to all of my new subscribers, thank you all so much for hitting that subscribe button and joining this family. To all of my nieces, nephews, and my members who are in the comment section in green, thank you all so much for your continued support. Hello there, Jessica. Want to highlight you. Hi, sweetie. Thank you so much for being here. Yo, I don't know if you all know, but there is a woman on TikTok by the name of Nicolai, who is decided to do a social experiment to see whether or not churches would help out in a crisis, member or non-member. To date, she has, let me see if I can bring it up so you can see it, because I want everything to be verified. Let's see, where is she? Where's her last one? She is currently at 42 churches that she is called. She has received 9 yes and 33 no's. What does that mean? We're about to discover what that means. We're going to hear from Jessica. I've reached out to her and asked her if I could use her material. Haven't heard back from her, but Nicolai, holla at me so I can do a thorough report. But this one I'm just going to do fair use. We are doing commentary and news reporting and recapping, reaction, etc., all covered under fair use. So I'm going to show you all this video so that you can see what this is all about, and this is coming from her.
Okay, so for those of you that actually go to church and donate your hard earned money, do you actually know what your money goes to when you donate to your church? Because I know some of you, can't really afford much and you give what you can, and that takes money out of your own mouths, maybe. You might give your last few dollars to church, And I'm curious if that church actually helps your community or not, or if they just pocket your money. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually going to be testing and seeing if local churches in my area first are willing to help somebody that's in need when they call up and ask for
Okay.
help, or kind of like what the response is in general that they give me. I honestly don't know if they're going to be willing to help somebody in need, or if they're going to be like, no, sorry, we can't help you. And I honestly, like, my take on it, my personal beliefs, because I don't go to church, is that they're not going to want to help anybody that doesn't specifically want to go to their church, or interested in going to their church, or doesn't already attend their church. That's my
Okay.
view. That is my personal view. I want to be proven wrong. Okay, I want
Okay.
y'all to know that. I want to be proven wrong. But I am going to test it. And I'm going to call them, and I'm going to call them on the phone with you so you can see what is said and how they respond, and if they're willing to help somebody in need. I will be lying and making up stories and scenarios to see if they're willing to help. If you're investing your hard-earned money to give to your church, that church should be giving back to you and your family when you're in need, and it should be giving back to your community with that money. Okay, I live in a Bible Belt. I live in Somerset, Kentucky. It's a very, very small town. We probably have 100 churches here. I never see churches come out to help anybody. Okay, never. And I'm about to see that if I call them up personally, if they're willing to help somebody that calls and is in need. Stay tuned.
Okay, y'all. So that is the premise of the social experience that she has decided that she is going to embark on. I must say that watching this, I have very mixed feelings about some of it. Maybe some information that may help, if you will, on why some of these churches are doing the things that they're doing. But at the end of the day, you downtown in the comments section can weigh in and let me know what you think about this. All comments are welcome, except for those comments that are disrespectful in nature, that don't have anything to do with this video. Please stay focused as you comment in the comment section, okay? So, she has approximately, let me see, you know what, matter of fact, I'll share it with you all because I like to share. Sharing is caring, and sharing is also proof. So I'm going to bring up her TikTok account so you can see that she has many videos, 38 posts that she has uploaded as it relates to this social experience that she is doing. Now, I talked to one of my girlfriends today. She is an elder at a church. She is over the outreach ministry downtown to the church. She does a lot for the communication, the community in the Washington, D.C. area and in the surrounding areas. And so I wanted to have a conversation with her because I know how she flows. But I also have been, in church just about all my life. And I know that every church functions differently and that some of them do have programs, some of them do not. The churches that I have been in range from the big mega churches to the little small on the corner churches, right? So I have a lot of experience with church and church outreach and stuff like that. And as I said, I reached out to this elder so that I could get her perspective on what is wrong with outreach sometimes in a church, why we have churches that say no and some churches say yes and stuff like that, right? So this is a conversation, not an argument, and I just want to make sure that I set the stage for what you're about to see. So we're about to look at a video that she did, right? Because she uses a couple of props. So as she said, she's going to be falsifying information. The information that she falsifies when she calls is number one, that she has a baby. Number two, that her baby has not eaten. Number three, the baby is crying in some of the videos in the background. Once she gets the information from what I've seen, now I have not looked at all of the videos, all 38 of them, but I have looked at enough of them, right, to see that once she gets a church who is willing to help, that she stops them immediately before they make any arrangements. I'm also going to be showing you some of the responses that have come out from the different churches who, quote unquote, failed her social experiment. Her social experiment has a pass and a fail. If the church is willing to help a mom who has a baby that is 2 months old, that is a pass for her. If she calls a church and they refuse to help her, then that is a fail. Now, those are her criterias, okay, for a pass and a fail. Now, I want to say that I'm going to be giving you all some word, right, or what the Bible says, since this is mostly um, Christian churches. We're also going to be talking about the law under IRS that is what they call a church tax exempt status under U.S. law 501c3 that helps to serve the poor and fund community needs. So again, this is going to probably be a long video. Go ahead on and get your popcorn, your drink, or whatever it is that you need in order to, sit back and chill with us, okay? So, without further ado, I'm going to share a video with you of a church that she called. You're going to see the whole process, okay? Are y'all ready? Y'all ready? Let's get into it, shall we? Oh, yes, we shall.
I am calling your church to test to see if they are willing to help feed a hungry baby. So far, I've already called two churches. Neither one of them were willing to help feed a baby. And honestly, I'm not even a church. And if somebody called me needing to feed a baby, I wouldn't just hang up the phone. I would find them a resource and get them formula for their baby. So now I'm calling Heritage Hope Church of God in Somerset, Kentucky. And it says that they are the oldest continuing church of God in the state of Kentucky. And over the course of the past 109 years, we've been a part of the spiritual landscape in Somerset. So let's see if they're willing to help feed a
They've been
hungry
around a long
baby.
time. Let's see if they help.
It does not state online if they are open or not, so we're just going to call and see.
Heritage Hope Church of God.
Hi, I was wanting to see if you all could help at all. I have a 2-month-old baby and I ran out of formula last night. I was wanting to see if y'all could help with formula.
Let me see. Give me your name and number.
My name is Nakali, or just Callie, and then my number is 859-353-7777.
7777.
Yes.
It's Kylie. What's the last name, ma'am?
Monroe, Monroe.
Okay. Now what exactly are you needing?
I just need the Good Start formula.
Okay. So how much do you need? I need to know that too.
I'm not sure. I think I usually have, I think it's maybe $17 at Walmart. I mean, if y'all could just get the formula, I could pick it up or have somebody come get it.
Well, I'm an officer. I never myself, and I'll see if I can get somebody to do this.
Okay.
We can do this. I'll just see. Tell me what it is called in case I have to go get it, because I'm a great grandpa. I'm not used to picking up formula. Okay. What's it called?
Good Start.
Good Start. And
Sir. Sir.
And it's for infants.
Yes, sir.
Infants formulas. Any flavor, anything to it, or just?
No, sir. Hey, can I say something real quick?
flavor.
Hey, okay, I'm actually just testing churches to see which ones would actually help the community, and you just touched my heart. And I
Really?
just want
Thank
you
you.
to know that you are an amazing person. That's the formula, but I don't need it. I just wanted to see if you were willing to help. And I just wanted to let you know that you touched me today, that you were actually willing to help
How
or find the
sweet.
help.
Even I'm right now thinking internally in my church. My people won't ask for anything. They will not ask me or tell me nothing. And as a rule, most of my people have been blessed. But the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are struggling won't tell me. But I'm trying to figure right now with the SNAP program dying out tomorrow or possibly, I'm trying to figure. I don't know how to ask my people how many of y'all are on SNAP because they might not want to tell me.
Yeah.
Because my people won't tell me when they have a need, and we always try to help. I do help in the body. The Bible tells us that do good to all men, but especially those of the household of faith. So I started in the church, though it may sound hard. I started in the church, but my people very seldom ask me for anything. And we do ministry outside the church, and but a lot of churches are struggling inside. Like I said, right now, I don't know how I'm gonna get my people to tell me they get SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
If they do,
Can I
I don't know
suggest
how they.
something to you?
Yeah, go
Okay.
to.
Have you tried doing like a box where people can drop off their information and it be private? That way nobody has to know anything. And then,
That's what I thought about putting envelopes in their bulletins and just
yeah,
drop an envelope in a box and tell me because I am concerned.
and just let those that don't feel like comfortable sharing or feel ashamed or too much pride, that it takes more courage to ask for help and
It
make
does.
sure that they're
It,
taken care of.
it takes more to receive than to
That's
give. To
true.
Yeah,
be honest with you, in my life anyway.
yeah,
So, but I've been blessed. Uh, but that's a good suggestion. I'm probably try the envelopes this week and tell them to just stick them in their bulletins and say if you have a need, if you could tell me. Like I said, I know I've got people that get SNAP benefits. I know that,
yeah.
but they won't tell me they're doing that.
Well,
And
I'm going to have to come check out your church because I really love that you actually help and do what
Hmm.
you need to do.
I
I
I
appreciate
I
that.
can't say and things like that. So we just took a load of food to the food pantry this morning. Took a donation of where we're not a rich church, but we do what we can.
Yeah. Well,
It's
since I
so
know that you
sweet.
help, I'm going to put out, if you don't mind, on social media for people to come donate to your church to where you can help out a little bit more. Is that okay?
I'll be fine.
Okay. Again, thank you so much and keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.
Now, that was absolutely beautiful. In other videos, she did go to his church. The first time that she went to his church, I believe he did not even want to come on camera. And then she had went to the church when they were having a service and he was talking about it and sharing the church's responsibility for taking care of people. Some of the churches that she called mentioned Wick. And I noticed that Wick was in my comment section. And you have to understand that there are let me bring it up so I can share it with you. Okay. Because this is one of the things that caused some of the churches to fail. Okay. Some of the churches have failed because of this very question. I'm not going to identify the person because maybe they came in later and did not realize that this is a social experiment that she does not, let me repeat again, she does not have a baby. Okay. So she doesn't need this. She is doing a social experiment. But let's talk about WIC since WIC came up. Shall we? Yes, we shall. WIC stands for Women, Infants, and Children. It is a federal nutrition assistance program designed to safeguard the health of low income pregnant women, new mothers, infants, and children up to the age of 5 by providing supplemental foods, nutrition, education, breastfeeding support, and referrals to health and social services. It is meant as a term, short term intervention to improve life nutrition and health behaviors for high risk populations. It is a program that is federally funded through the Department of Agriculture. State agencies implement the program and they determine the eligibility in that particular state. They authorize the vendors and provide local services under what? Federal guidelines. While the bulk of funding is federal, some states may supplement with other resources. And there are mechanisms like infant formula rebates that offset the cost. How do you qualify for WIC? Low income. So if you are a mother that they don't deem low income, you don't get WIC. And your low income, as this person has absolutely, absolutely explained, you could be $5, $2.50 over, and you will not qualify for WIC. WIC is not available to everybody. There are a lot of programs that right now are being cut off. We won't discuss that, but there are programs that are not even available anymore. But the churches have not been cut off from 501c. Neither have they been cut off from their responsibilities to the communities that they serve. I never qualified for WIC. Didn't mean that I couldn't use it. Didn't mean that I didn't need it. My baby, when I had my baby years ago, okay, I was a single mom and seemed like I would have made every qualification for the WIC program. However, I didn't because they deemed that my income was too high. I should be able to do this on my own. I should be able to do this on my own. Luckily, I was blessed with a godmother who said, I will take care of the food. My baby was on a special formula through Infamil, and those cases were extremely expensive. My baby had a problem with sucking. She could not suck, and therefore she needed a heavier formula. Good Start, in comparison to Infamil, are two total different worlds. One is a Range Rover, one is a Pinto. And I could not qualify for WIC. So this is in no way a criticism. Since I saw it in the comment, I said, okay, I'll get to it earlier. We'll talk about it earlier. But why would a mother who really doesn't have it not already say, my WIC is gone? My resources are gone. The milk that I got on WIC, even if this mom was on WIC, let's say that she had ran out, that the baby, was having reflux or whatever, and she was feeding the baby, like my baby would have horrible refluxes, right? And so I can do a whole bottle. She may bring that whole bottle up, and guess what? She's still hungry, and I still need to call her. I still need to feed her. WIC is not a be all to end all for mothers or for dads, because we do have single dads. So I don't want to make this just about moms. But it's not the end all be all. And it shouldn't be a question that is asked by the church. If the individual is coming to the church to get the resources that they believe that the church may or may not have, what does WIC have to do with it? I'm sorry, y'all. This heater, I think, is messing up. Hold on. I do believe that it is very hard for people to ask. I know that there are people who have asked me for money to feed their kids, who have asked me for money to feed themselves and their kids, for money to pay their electric bill, for money to pay their mortgage. And they're not the kind of people who wanted that to be blasted or for me to ask. I never ask, what do you have? That is never a condition that I know what you have and what you don't have accessible, because I understand that when people ask you they don't want to ask you. They don't want to ask me. They don't want to be in my DMs and in my Gmail account asking me for money to help them. So I already know that they've already had to go through a process to ask me, Auntie, can you help me with this? Which is why I have said over and over again, that is what the super chats go towards. And guess what? When I don't get super chats, I still come out of my pocket. That is not something that I pat myself on the back for, or I want recognition for, or I want somebody to kiss my ass for. Like, it's just something that I made up in my mind. This is what I am going to do with this. And guess what? At the end of the day, I got to pay taxes on whatever I give out, because I am not asking them, are you a charitable organization? Can I get you to fill something out to get it back on my taxes? No. So WIC is not an end all, and it absolutely is not guaranteed. Moreover, the eligibility requirements, you have to meet several criteria. They got to be categorical, residential, income, nutritional risk. The main ones are, you got to be pregnant any trimester. Is for breastfeeding women up to the infant's first birthday, non-breastfeeding postpartum women up to 6 months after the end of pregnancy, infants from birth to age 1, children up to their 5th birthday under the age of 5. You got to live in the state in which you applied. You have to have an income requirement. Your household income must be at or below a certain level, often around 185% of the federal poverty level. 185% of the poverty level. Not 85%, not 50%. 185% of the poverty level to qualify for WIC. If you participate already in Medicaid, SNAP, or TANF, okay. But a lot of people who are working people don't even qualify for it. Or guess what? If you don't meet none of those, you gotta go to a doctor, pay co-pays, do whatever you gotta do, and get a health professional to determine that you are a nutrition risk to qualify for WIC? What are you saying, baby? Exactly, Auntie. The only reason I qualified was because I was put on bed rest due to a difficult pregnancy and had to take leave from work. God bless you, Candace. Candace said, I had to recently put my pride aside to ask for help during this shutdown. Trust me, it was hard. Let me do the math on something. 185% of the poverty level. Let me copy this. Let me paint this. Paste this. Okay, so I'm going to say, what is 185% of the federal poverty level in the District of Columbia? It says for the year 2025, and this is for the District of Columbia because this is where I work. If you want me to do your state, put it down in the chat and I'll do it. For Washington, D.C., it says the 2025 federal poverty guideline for a household of four. Now, I got one. Automatically don't apply, don't qualify. Because I only got one. So I would have to big bar and steal to get a doctor to qualify me as a health risk. Because I don't fit nothing else. The federal poverty line for the District of Columbia for a household of four people in the 48 contiguous states in the District of Columbia is $32,000. You cannot make over $59,478 if you got four people in your home. Yourself and four other people. You can't make over 60,000. Where the fuck you gonna live? In the District of Columbia with $59,000. Back in the day, that's what I had to do. I had prescription Enfamil, and the prescription Enfamil was $32. My daughter's almost 30. This was almost 30 years ago, and I was paying 30 some dollars for Enfamil, and I didn't qualify for WIC because I was over the poverty line. All that. Didn't have health risk, didn't have anything. So I just wanted to I want to be able to have a candid conversation with y'all. I thank y'all so much for being here. I really do. I really do appreciate y'all for being here. But we're going to have some truthful conversations out here. Because the more you know, the more you know, right? And they say the more you know, the more you grow. WIC is not available for some people. It's not. And you could be making the criteria at 185% is 59. You could be making 63. You don't qualify. And you don't have four people in your home. You just got you and two kids. Let me try something again. Can you qualify For Wick, if you only have one child. Oh, they say, yeah, you can. You can, but the criteria's change. They say you still can make over that poverty level. You still got to qualify as if you are a family of four. It is still the same mandate of 185% of the federal poverty level. You must also meet all everything else. It says if you're a mom in DC with a 2-year-old child not pregnant and your household income falls under that income limit of 59,000, you can get WIC benefits for your child. And then it says, and sometimes for yourself if you still within postpartum or breastfeeding. Would you say, my baby? 20 years ago, I was supporting four people. I made $100 too much per month to get any assistance. And when my hours got cut, so sad to see that nothing has changed. I am currently working without a paycheck. I'm prepared, but it's still hard. Bills don't wait. I have one child and I'm on WIC in North Carolina. And we will not ask you your income or anything else. And don't put it down in the chat. Every child deserves to eat, period. So she has decided to do this. She decided to do the social experiment. And I respect her for doing it. In a way, is it stirring the pot? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's stirring the pot. And but it's causing us to have a conversation. It's causing us to look at how do people eat? How do people get by? And what is the church's responsibility? This man said yes. He was a grandpa. He said, yes, I'll go and get it. I don't know what I'm buying. Tell me what I'm buying. And he said that he has members in his church that he knows are struggling, but they won't ask him for nothing. Why is that? Could that possibly be about the shame and the embarrassment? Or just feeling like I'm not going to come to my church and give anything? Why? Why isn't his church people asking him? So let's look at something else. Let's look at another one. Okay. Shall we? Oh, yes, we shall.
So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would help feed a starving baby. And right now, per request, I'm calling Living Faith Christian Center in.
Notice that she says per request. So as she began to start doing the experiment, excuse me, y'all. As she began to do the experiment and test out different churches, right? People started hitting her up in the DMs and was like, call my church. Thinking that I know we got a program. Oh, girl, call my church. Some people were like, call my church. I want to see what they do. So notice that she said, someone told her to call this church. This wasn't her randomly looking like before. Someone told her, to call. Let's see what happens.
So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would help feed a starving baby. And right now, per request, I'm calling Living Faith Christian Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Let's call them and see if they would help feed a starving baby.
Living Faith Christian Center.
Hi, yes. I was wanting to see if y'all could help with baby formula at all. I have a 2-month-old and she ran out last night, so I just need like a small can because she's gone all day and all night.
What about? Oh, I don't understand. You have need for what, ma'am? Now.
I was wanting to see if you all could help with a small can of formula for a baby.
Small can of formula for a baby. Hold on, let me see. Sister Judy's available. Hold on,
Okay.
This is Julia. How can I help you?
Hi, I was wanting to see if y'all could help with a small can of baby formula. I have a 2-month-old and she's been out since last night, so she's gone all night and all day without anything to eat.
We don't have any formula around, darling. I'm sorry. None. No diapers, anything for babies. We
Okay.
don't have anything.
Could that be something you all could get and I could just pick it up?
No, we can't right now. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Nope.
They don't have it. She had one lady that was hard of hearing. She transfers her to someone else. And she just flat out said, we ain't got it. We ain't got it to do. One of the things that me and my elder friend talked about, as it relates, and elder means senior leadership in the church, right? One of the things that I told her that I noticed with listening to these videos is that the staff that they have on board have no creativity outside of what the church say they got to say on the phone. The first person that we talked to, he was the pastor. So he could say, I don't have it, but I'm going to do it. As opposed to a secretary who is sitting at the desk, may not have the heart or the ministry or the calling for outreach. So when they get a call, they're just a receptionist reading off of a script. I told her that I believe that churches should have people who are answering the phone, who have a heart and a compassion for serving people. And maybe some of these churches would have answered the question different had they had someone who wasn't there out of business as usual. I think who you have on the phone line should be someone in a capacity of ministry and authority where they can say, you know what? They don't have it here, but I got it. I told her my first instinct when I listened to the first church fail by her criteria. I'm not saying that the church is a failure. I'm saying by her criteria of this social experiment, she felt like they failed. For me, I'm saying, but if you got a heart of compassion, you can break, people should feel free to break protocols. Well, we don't have it. How you doing? Church of Auntie's Advice. Hi, can I help you? Yes, hi. I got a baby in the background. Oh, if you're a mom, ever been a mom, you know them apron strings up underneath the belly button are going to get to working as soon as you hear baby crying. That's that maternal instinct, or in you, right? And I want to take that back because it doesn't. You don't even have to be a mom to have maternal instincts. So I want to make sure that I recall that. right? You just may have maternal instincts because you got maternal instincts. But if you have that maternal instinct, as soon as you hear baby crying, it kicks in. Now you're saying, my baby has not eaten. I'm looking in my heart and in my spiritual realm, right? Oh my God, this baby's hungry in the background. My maternal instinct is going to automatically want to feed the baby. You're going to want to feed the baby. We got a grandpa. We got some women that answered the phone. That grandpa said, what, y'all? I'm a grandpa. He got the instinct. He's raised his kids and now he got grandbabies. So he has that paternal instinct of knowing what it means for a baby to be hungry. If you got Sally Betsy Sue sitting at the desk, who is the cousin of Pastor such and such cousin on his mother's side, then they're going to follow protocol. They may not be the right person on the phone. The person that should be on the phone is a person that says, hi, welcome to Auntie's Advice, Church of the Lord our Christ, Bedside Baptist, Mother Comforter. Oh, wah, a baby's crying in the back. Wah, wah. My baby has not eaten. Automatically, we in that church. That's for me. For me, I am no longer sitting in the house of anybody. The house of Auntie, Bedside Baptist, Mother Comforter. I'm not there. I am now in mommy mode, grandma mode, granddad role, daddy role. Feed the baby, compassion, sympathy. I'm not thinking about WIC. I'm not thinking about what the church down the street got. I'm not thinking about sending you to the Salvation Army. I'm thinking about, how do I help you feed your baby? That baby is in the background crying. Is the diaper changed? How you? She's calling and saying off of a script. She's saying using the same script with every church. I have a 2-month-old baby that has not eaten. My baby is hungry. Do you all have any way to help me? Now, I understand the way that she phrased it. It's like you want the church to help, but if the church don't have a program, I got it, baby. What can I do? What you got a phone number or address? What are you? Do you live in this area? A lot of people ask her, "Do you live in this area?" Yes, I live in the area. I could be there in 10 minutes. Okay. So what's the name of the milk? What do you need? Enfamil, Similac? What do you need? Because when I was growing up, that's what we had, Enfamil and Similac. The little other powder stuff started coming out eventually, but y'all got to remember this was almost over 30 years ago, okay? Let me do it. But if you don't have the protocols in place, or you got a strict protocol where you have to answer off of the script, then it doesn't give you or leave you the opportunity to go outside of that without possibly being fired or chastised. So I do understand why the people will say, no, we don't have that. But then I do also understand that there are people who just don't have that instinct, right, to say, how can I help you? The church don't have it, but I got it. And that's what I noticed throughout the calls, that there was no creativity outside of the church. This is the script. You say, hello, underscore, my name is underscore, this is the church of do. You got to come out of that box when people are in need. You got to come out that box. Well, no, we don't have nothing. We got a pantry and we feed people at Thanksgiving. Everybody feeding at Thanksgiving. But what about the moms that ain't Thanksgiving? What about the moms that ain't Christmas? Everybody's doing a Thanksgiving food drive and a Thanksgiving this. But what happened in July? What happens in June? What happens in May? Yeah, you can all have a little Easter program and all of that kind of stuff, and you got the New Year's and stuff. But what happens with all the moms? Because people got needs every day. Every day. You got to come outside the box. And then some of the churches that she called, they were like, are you a member? You pay tithes up in this mother? Because if you don't pay tithes, you ain't getting. But the Bible says that the tithe in Malachi, that the tithes makes the church a storehouse. So did we forget that part of the scripture? Did we forget that part? If you collecting tithes, then the tithe is based on what, y'all? A storehouse. Let me bring it up. Hold on. Wait a minute. I want to make it very simple. Let me share. I hope this is it. Malachi 3 and 10 commands the people to bring the whole tithe, not half of it, the whole tithe into the storehouse so that there will be food in my house. In return, God promises to open the floodgates of heaven and pour out such a blessing that you will not have room enough to store it and to rebuke the devourer for their sake. The storehouse historically referred to the place in the Jerusalem temple where the tithes were stored for the support of the priests and the Levites, not the church building itself. The command in the passage is a direct command from God to the Israelites to bring their tithes to the storehouse. The storehouse, the purpose of the storehouse was a place to store food and provisions to provide for the religious needs of the community and the temple staff. God promised that a conditional blessing, if they obey and pay the tithe, he will provide so abundantly that there will be more than enough. In the current day, the tithe is given so that the church can be a storehouse of resources for the community. The 501c program, which I read that before. Where is it at? Because I pulled it out. Because churches are exempt from federal and state income taxes, property taxes, and sales taxes in most states, more of every dollar can go directly to what? Food pantries and meal programs, rent and utility assistance, clothing closets or shelters, benevolent funds for families who are in crisis. Without a 501c3, a church would have to pay taxes on their tithes and their offerings and reducing the funds available for them to outreach and do outreach in their community. So if you give it to me, if you're going to give me the similar, or you have, or the thing, you ain't got to pay taxes on it no way. That's what the church is for. The church is the storehouse. It's a place where people should be able to come. Now, I know that there's some churches that's barely keeping the lights on. But let's talk about this church, shall we? Oh, yes, we shall. Let me find it. Is this it? I don't know. Y'all can't see when it's small like this, but let's listen.
So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would. So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would help feed a starving baby. And right now, per request, I am calling your church to test to see if they are willing to help feed a hungry. So I'm calling your church to test. So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would help feed a starving baby. And right now, per request, I'm calling.
So after she had called
So I'm calling your church to.
Christian Center, they got mad because by her criteria, they failed. Let's see what the pastor had to say.
We had a little situation.
It's not a situation. You had a phone call. But see, these are trigger words, in my opinion. He didn't have a situation. You had a phone call. It happened to be on TikTok, and people happened to look at it, but it won't no situation. You got a phone call. Now you up in front of the congregants, the people in the church, the good people in the church. And now it's a situation. Let's listen.
We had a little situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna call this situation.
Why?
And y'all know if it was up to me, I would have been unplugged social media a long time ago.
I'm plugging
It's just a
in.
playground for good things, but also evil. So as much good as you can
Mm-hmm.
get out of it, you get a
Mm-hmm.
lot of evil. And the person who goes around calling churches and putting the voice of a baby crying in the background. And I say,
Social
really the
experiment.
person is low. So,
Why she
I
love?
got to teach these men over here, folk want to apologize. I don't apologize to the devil. Yeah, sometimes Christians get so weak, you forgot we're supposed to rebuke evil.
So now she
So
evil
if you
and
can
need to be
pretend to
rebuked.
have a crying baby to try to call churches and to get trick people into things.
She wasn't
Let
trying to
me
trick
tell you something
nobody.
about
She
living
asked a
faith.
question.
We fed thousands of people,
Oh,
thousands,
here we
not hundreds,
go.
thousands. I
Thanksgiving and
can't tell you
Christmas.
how much money have gone out. Now we don't advertise it because I'm not a social service person. I don't have a big box of money that I sit there and just tell them to pass by. Our
It's probably in
staff
your
gives
car.
money out of their pocket. And I can't tell you how many times we put families up where we had women with children come here on a Wednesday night, nowhere to live. Ask Sister Latoya, I give her my credit card. Go over here, stay a week, stay a week. So, but I'm not one of them preachers. I need to go call the newspaper every time we give out a bottle of water. So if you need that, you're in the wrong church. So as long as the members of Living Faith know, and I say we in the middle of feeding people, how you gonna do your little dirty deed? And it's just the spirit of a witch.
Now she a witch. She a witch now,
It's a
y'all.
witch. And my Bible says he do not allow that thing to live.
Mm. Now she a witch.
So you have to
Putting the
watch when
flowers
you
in the
fooling with
car.
God. I told him I had my scripture. I'm going to slip it in here this week. I didn't get a chance to
You
share
should
it
have
out of
answered the
Daniel
phone
chapter
then.
5. What happened when you mess with the people of God? You taking your life into your own hand. Now they might have a few little Tit Tok demons came up in here today. Please stay for the rest of the service.
Why they
Please
gotta
stay.
be demons and witches?
But you will behave yourself. Because this is not one of them churches you're going to come and disrupt it. You will be dealt with very, very swiftly in Jesus' name. Now, I'm going to tell you what.
He's
Just before I
embarrassed.
left out of my office,
He's
and I couldn't sleep
embarrassed.
last night, just little wink here and there. And at my young age, I need all the sleep I can get.
Why you couldn't
But,
sleep,
what I need the
Pastor?
Holy Spirit always is to guide me to do the right thing. You see, and so my first thing is to forgive them now. The other staff who got cursed out, think about it. You're going to provoke folk, and think about the evil people will call the church and curse the people out. I'm talking about all kind of vulgarity where you got to cut the phone off. Now, you know that's not people of God. That's the devil. Them folk, I rebuke you in Jesus' name. So if you're watching this morning, repent while you have a chance. But for my part, I forgive
You ain't
you.
gotta
I
repent.
really do. Because the devil is using you like a pair of galoshes. Just take you out there in the mud and the rain and sit you in the corner somewhere. Have no use for you.
This is my
But,
pastor.
and I pray that you be saved. I really do. I pray that you be
This is my
delivered.
pastor.
That the devil no longer has total control of you. Amen. And here's the funny thing, and
Oh, so now we
there
laughing?
wasn't too
Let's
much
get ready to
laughing
laugh.
around here because Will, he's from Chicago. I think some of them found out about this. So, all right, so don't y'all get it twisted. None. Um, it's I said, Lord, what? Tell me what to do for the babies who need milk. There's a lady called, we need formula. And I said, but that's like taking advantage of a person who's infirm and saying, I'm getting money, but the person not really infirm. You just using them. And I said, every mother that had a baby, what's the first thing they give you before you leave? Put it on the screen. The first thing they do to a mother is because the baby need food. Y'all got the thing I sent you with the wick? All right, it's coming up.
That's a lie.
It's coming up.
That's a
Okay.
bald-faced
Now
lie.
this is
They
on the.
give that to you, but you don't. You mother. Oh my God, y'all.
We had a little situation. So I'm gonna call this situation.
Okay, I gotta stop. I ain't even get to finish because I can't do the fool la la. If you give me a card, that ain't milk. Giving me a card with a thing on it for me to scan it to apply for it, I gotta qualify, Negro. Hold on. Out of touch. Just completely out of touch. Don't know nothing. Probably a bunch of hens sitting around him talking about why she ain't get wick. Excuse me, y'all. You got to apply for it and you got to wait to get approved. And that's if you even qualify for this. And then you using buzzwords, situation. When y'all got a phone call and one woman decided to have a pass and fail system, if your church was doing everything that it needed to do, and you felt like you was using your 501c3 to benefit the community around you. Why you mad? Okay, so people called, they cussed, they did what they did. That's what they do on TikTok. That's what they do on TikTok. That's what they do on TikTok. But you'd have made this a whole. Now you'd have made this a situation where you done got up front in the church and called this woman a witch and a devil. But I wonder how many people felt like he was a witch and a devil for not feeding the baby. Now, granted, he didn't answer the phone. But for me, I would have saw this as an opportunity to go and look at the girl's channel, see what she's talking about, and where can we improve. But you out here calling people witches. And if you do something with the church, you cutting your own life off. We all cut off. We all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Every last one of us. And you may not sin in deed. You may sin in thought. We ain't even gonna start talking about sin. But this is what they do downtown to some of the churches. Instead of taking responsibility, getting with your team and saying, how can we better serve the community? Or how can we better have a conversation or tell people when we don't have something, but let's see how we can start partnering with people who possibly do need milk. Everybody sin. And ain't no one sin bigger than the other one. God. Some of the people in the church probably didn't even know this mess happened. They came to the church for the choir. They wanted to be, bringing their offering. They wanted to be worshiping their hands. They didn't want to know about some TikTok social thing that y'all failed in the eye of this woman. The church is that fragile that they can't take a social experiment. You can't stand up there and just say, you know what? let me call all my leaders in. Let's analyze this. This is what we do at work. When we fail a customer or we don't do something wrong, you know what we do? We huddle. Bring all the documents, the emails, all the Zoom calls. Let's look at the transcripts. Let's see how we can improve. We ain't out there putting nothing on the site saying we had a situation. We got a witch in the midst. Mother, excuse me. I just feel like I need to throw some across the room. So let me. I knew they was going to ball. They talk about everything. This ain't the way you handle it, Pastor. You didn't. That's not a need that your church fulfills. But trust me, the girl, somebody from your church, or somebody that's familiar with your church gave the girl your church information. She thought, I say that all the time. I say that all the time. Somebody thought you was going to pass. That was enough. And so you didn't pass, you failed. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Tell the receptionist, look, when somebody call here and they have a need for something, let's see if we can get the information. How do y'all think we should handle this? What do y'all think that we should do? You don't get up there and call a girl a witch. Like mother, like that's the kind of stuff that will make you cuss the pastor out. Now I understand that their rating has gone down, that people have been out there downtown to the TikTok giving them unfair ratings and stuff like that because people are affected by it. I understand that that doesn't feel good. Don't nobody like that. I wouldn't want nobody doing that to me. But at the end of the day, if I make a mistake, I ain't gonna bring it to y'all. Only those situations that I feel like I need to solve or I need to talk about. I go through stuff all the time. And then you got the audacity to be out of touch and not know the parameters around WIC. It don't take nothing but a Google search. What the you talk about, put that up there. Put that up there up on the thing. What do the church, what do the hospital give you? WIC and a baby wrapped in swaddling clothing. Because it ain't the church, I mean, a hospital responsibility. However, now when I had my daughter, like I said, so my daughter was a preemie by weight and by date. Okay? Preemie, weight, and by date. Some people are babies are preemie by weight or date. Mine was both. So my baby she did not know how to suck from her mouth. A lot of babies don't. But because my baby was so small when I had her, she had to have the extended nipples. Now, I had brought nipples and stuff. I had her unexpectedly, didn't have my baby shower. They was planning the baby shower. I ain't show up at none of them because guess what I was doing? In the hospital pushing. But because she was so small, she had not developed her sucking skills. So the regular nipple is probably about, that big or maybe a little bigger than that. And then they got the new ones now with the flat thing and all of that. My baby nipple had to be this long because she could suck from here, but she could not suck from here, if that makes sense. So the nipple that I would have to give her, yeah, my baby was at the baby shower too. When they finally got to give me one, my baby was there too. And when I came to my baby shower, I had my baby, and I had lost my sight in one of my eyes. I could not see. But anyway, I digress. So she had to have a nipple that would a nipple in order to suck from here. Can y'all see? From here. The hospital did give me those. But they didn't give me no milk. They didn't give me none of that. I couldn't lactate. I couldn't do breastfeeding because she could not suck. They ain't send me out with no Enfamil, no Similac, no nothing. I did get those long nipples thanks to the hospital. And then I learned and found a medical center where I could go and buy them. You talking about a pamphlet, and this woman got a baby crying in the background, and you talking about what do the hospital give you? You mother. Lord, don't let me disrespect the man of God. Please, God, help my mouth. We've been out here for a while, and we're gonna be out here for a while. This is a long video. The definition of a witch It's a person who is believed to have supernatural powers or magic, who casts spells and curses. That was back in Europe and the colonial America with the Salem witch trials and all that, with witches being, was often, accused of doing deadly things and, having innocent people persecuted, all that. The modern spiritual definition of a witch is a spiritual and nature based, right? They may honor cycles of nature, the moon, herbs, crystals, energy, and right? They doing sorcery. People who are involved with spirits and manipulation. That could be anybody. The way that we see witches now, I don't know much about them. But a witch could be anybody by definition. He could even be a pastor. I want you all to see this one. I had the Joel Osteen one. Where is it? This is a gentleman here. She had called a mosque, I believe it was. This pastor, I believe, failed. His church failed. And this is his reason why his church failed.
There's a woman on TikTok who's doing a social experiment where she is calling churches to ask about baby formula to see if any of them will actually help them out. And she called a mosque and they actually would help them out while none of the churches. And this doesn't surprise me as a pastor. And I talk a lot about Muslim zakat. It's one of the 5 pillars of Islam where Muslim communities and Muslims are obligated to provide charity to the community. Churches, they are not obligated. We hope that they're going to be able to be philanthropic and donate into their community. And my church has a food bank that I'm very proud of, but not every church has a discretionary fund. As a pastor, I have a discretionary fund, but also there's a scam going on right now in churches. My assistant this week got a text saying, "Hi, this is Pastor Burke, Pastor Tom. Can you send me the directory of the church?" Because what scammers do is they go through the directory of churches, they go through online directories, and they email and they scam all members of churches and they say, "Can you send me a Visa gift card? Can you send me this gift card?" That is something that happens. Churches get scammed all of the time. And so if you think the response to churches saying no to helping baby formula is to tax the churches, we spend $1 trillion a year on our military, on bombing other countries. We are right now bombing fishermen in the ocean. We spend less than 1% of our GDP, less than 1% of our budget on helping poor people, on food aid, on SNAP, on food assistance. So I don't understand why people want to tax the church when that tax money is just going to the military. Churches, the money that is donated to churches as a nonprofit or charity has already been taxed. And I understand that people want people on food assistance, people who need baby formula should get that help. But taxing the churches is not going to do that. All you're going to do is take money from churches and give it to the military and give it to the government, which is not helping poor people at all. But they got a 501c3. Well, if you want to reform the tax code, that's fine. I'm all about it. But taxing churches would close small churches that actually do provide local philanthropic efforts to the community, and it would do nothing to the mega churches that you really want to actually get rid of. Churches like Joel Osteen, who doesn't do anything. These churches like Mark Driscoll. If you call those types of churches, of course they're not going to help. But if you call a small town church that well, they're going to try and do whatever they can to help you. So the answer is not taxing the churches, because then you're just taking money from churches.
Ain't nobody talking about taxing the church. Did I miss something? Is it me? Did I miss something? I swear to God, I missed something. Something went over my head. I okay. Yo, I'm going to link her information down in the comment section. I want to hear from y'all. What do you all think about this? I understand that nobody likes to be criticized. Nobody likes it. But I feel like a lot of the responses kind of validate that the church don't want to help. I think that everything that people that is done under the sun is meant to happen, right? And I think it's her purpose for I think that there is a purpose for her doing this. Whether I agree or not, that's nobody's business but my own. That's nobody's business but my own. But I think that it is opening up the church about the fool Allah. Is this one of the videos I wanted to play? Let me see.
That man said that he decided to do his own social experiment, went outside down to the corner and asked the dope boys if they would be willing to help a young mother who was struggling to provide formula for her baby because she didn't have any money. And he said that all 7 of them, with zero hesitation, reached into their pockets, grabbed some money, and they were able to get 7 cans of formula, 1 can of formula each. 7 cans of formula. And then that man was able to take that formula and give it to one of his neighbors who is a mother who is struggling to provide formula for her baby. Crack dealers are out here, okay? Because he was like, because that's what he said. I guess they sell crack. Crack dealers are out here making sure that babies are getting fed, okay? Dope boys. I got a stack of blue faces in my AR back. Like, they out here making sure that the babies are getting fed. Crack dealers. Now, this is not glorifying drug dealing now, okay? Don't get me
We
wrong.
understand.
But
We hear
crack
you,
dealers are
Queen.
out here with zero hesitation, ready to feed these babies. But Joel Osteen's church said that she had that she had to fill out an application. And then if she was approved, it would take another several days to weeks before she would get the formula. But my baby hungry now. But crack dealer, child.
Crack dealers, drug boys on the corner, lurking in the shadows, are willing to feed a baby. While she says that Joel Osteen, and I don't know what I did with that video, where Joel Osteen's church said you got to fill out an application. And you got to wait weeks to maybe weeks to months to get it back, to get 1 can of Good Start. How much is Good Start formula? Because I know it's cheap. So at Target, the Good Start Smooth Pro is $32.49. The Gerber Good Start Gentle Powder formula is $18.78. The Good Start Gentle Pro for easy digestion and sulfur poops is $42.84 downtown to the Walmart. How much is Enfamil? That's what my baby used to use. Enfamil. God, God damn. We ain't even gonna talk about it. Okay. We gotta do better. The churches gotta do better. They just have to do better. Hire staff who are empathetic and sympathetic to the needs of people who call. Train the people to understand when something is an emergency and something can wait to go through regular protocol. It's just simple as that. If somebody calls, they saying that churches are getting scammed. If you go to an ATM, you don't know if it's a real reader or not. Everybody getting scammed. Your information, you go on the site, your information getting sold. You get all kinds of spam mail and text messages. Hey, you said you wanted to do, like, what are you talking about? Everybody got a scam going on, or have had someone to attempt to take their information and their data. The church ain't exempt from scams, but people still go. People still go to the ATM machine. They still apply. They still, like, what are we doing? Like, what? Stop with the churches. Did you know that churches was being scammed? Yeah, because everybody is. Malachi says that the tithe is taken so that the church is the storehouse. And maybe some of these churches aren't big enough and they don't have the resources. And they just, let's do better, churches. It ain't no need of calling this woman a witch or nothing out of her name. She ain't call that man nothing out of his name. She did not tell the people downtown on the Tit Tok to go and bomb his church and tear his rate. That's not what she did. She didn't do that. I want to talk about the first guy as we come to a close. The first gentleman from the little church. I can't remember the name of it. Let me click on it so I can get the name. Okay, I want to get it right.
So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would.
Living Faith Christian Center. Because of his willingness to go out and help and serve where he could. Hear me. To go out and serve where he could. I believe it was in one day. Hold on, y'all. I think I lost y'all. Right, man? Where y'all at? Hold on. He received over $700,000 in one day of donations and resources. In one day. Overwhelmingly. There have been other churches who have said yes, that have been overwhelmed with donations from people. I think that this is a good learning tool for churches. But that man's church got blessed over and above what he ever did, thought, or think. And that's what the word says. It also says, give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give back to you. There's so many principles about giving. And maybe your church did fail. It ain't the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Do better. Get a strategy in place. Learn from it. Because that's what corporations got to do when they mess up. That's what we gotta do. We sit down and we huddle and we say, how do we make sure that we don't do this again? Well, you know better, you do better. And it's okay to make a mistake. But you ain't got to call it a situation. It ain't this serious. Again, I'll make sure I leave the information down in the comment in the description box so that y'all can go and support her TikTok. And maybe you may want to support some of the churches who did give her that milk. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. Let's continue the conversation down in the comments section. And until we meet again, y'all be safe out there in those streets, in the water, and everywhere else. I love y'all. Tell me what you think. Bye, y'all.